keep the faith in our own country and become active contributors to building stronger institutions, accountable institutions, and promoting integrity in all parts of our society. I mean, you have business people that are corrupt, you have collusion taking place, you have corruption in government, you have people. I think the majority of government is still very committed to ensuring that the country is advancing all the time and that we are improving the living conditions and the working conditions of ordinary South Africans. So, like I said, work with government, work with all role players, and we can have a great country. And we can be a fantastic example to the rest of the world about how a diverse society like ours can promote non-racialism, can advance non-sexism, and build democratic institutions. Remember, we're only 23 years old as a country, and others are 230 years old, and they're still having difficulties with their institutions. So hopefully all of this passes, and the newer generation of political office bearers will do their bit and make their contribution to making South Africa a better place.
Minister, is there a sense of betrayal that you feel, given the kind of rapport that you have with the President, and taking into account the fact that you were asked into this ministry, and on the day that you leave, you said there was no phone call, there was no SMS. What does that say? What does that do for you?
That's the prerogative of the head of state. So we must accept things as they are. And I do want to emphasize that I didn't apply for this job. I was asked to do it at a time when, in the view of the ANC and the President, they required my services in order to contribute towards stability. So at least I can say with a very clear conscience, I have contributed, as has the Deputy Minister and the management at the Treasury, to a year of relative stability and created conditions where there's confidence in our economy. Now, it's up to those who are taking over to continue with that and face the challenges that this job brings with it.
But given how praised you have been, Minister, did you expect more?
More of what?
More from the President in how he has dealt with you and your deputy?
You know, the best thing they say in life is don't have expectations that you don't want to have disappointments. So, as I said, that's the prerogative of the President.
Can I ask you one question? As a family man, what has been the impact on your family? I mean, you've said over the last 15, 16 months, you've endured constant attacks, and I saw your wife inside here as well. So, what has it been like for your family?
No, it's tough. You know, they're human, like anybody else, and they sometimes wonder now, why are you continuing to make these sacrifices when, in fact, people don't want you around? And when you have, like I said, attacks by these unknown and unseen fake accounts and people behind those accounts, making all sorts of allegations about, for example, me giving my daughter tenders. Now, anybody with any brains will know that ministers generally, I certainly don't, get involved in tenders and in dishing them out. So there was this campaign to malign and to damage the integrity of myself, my family, but also the staff at the Treasury as well. So the minute you stand up for the right thing, and the minute you are seen to be obstructing that which somebody wants to do, which in our view is negative for the country and negative for some institution, then you get the kind of attacks that we've seen. And the public must know about it. So who are all these hidden people? And they are sort of full-time commentators. You know, I wonder where they get paid. Where do they find the time for these things? But that's the past now. And let's see what the future holds.
Minister, I want to squeeze in one last question. You've called on all South Africans to mobilize. Are you going to be doing the same?
Well, I'm going to have a small rest and then I'll see.